Chapter 31. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As Dokichi left, the students changed their lifeless appearance and immediately recovered to their best state. Then they all rushed to Uchiha Xingliu. In the past few days, the name of Uchiha Xingliu has been widely circulated in Konoha, whether it was being adopted by Uzumaki Mido or forcing spies from other villages to retreat. His reputation as a genius spread like wildfire, especially among children. His name can be said to make people hate him, because he became the child of other people's families in the mouths of Konoha parents, but in this cruel world, even children will unconsciously follow the footsteps of the strong. Even if Uchiha Xingliu hides most of his strength, what he reveals is enough to sweep the ninja school, so as long as there is a little knowledge in the family, they all gather around him and want to have a good relationship with him. Unfortunately, before Uchiha Xingliu can feel happy, Tsunade forces most people to retreat with a murderous look for Tsunade. Uchiha Xingliu is his playmate. Sometimes, the possessiveness of children is terrifying. As the granddaughter of the first and second generations, this identity can be said to be the top in Konoha, so Tsunade began to protect Uchiha Xingliu, and most people retreated, but there were also people who were not afraid of Tsunade, and Uchiha Ji was one of them. She sat next to Uchiha Xingliu and could talk to him as soon as she turned around. She deliberately showed a proud expression, but her face slowly turned red. Uchiha Xingliu, although you are very strong, I will definitely surpass you. Uchiha Xingliu looked at the poor acting girl in front of him speechlessly, and complained in his heart. The person you just said to surpass is me. Also, you are not this character at all. Why are you blushing? I didn't do anything. Just when he didn't know what to do, someone came to relieve his embarrassment. When he was a child, Orochimaru was very handsome, and because of his excellent appearance, he was a little introverted, but the words of his parents before they went to the battlefield still lingered in his ears. My child, you have great talent, but the battlefield is a place where reason is not followed. The enemy will not let you go just because you are young. Talent that cannot be fulfilled is nothing. Remember what mom and dad said. Uchiha Xingliu is the teammate who can keep you alive. You must build a bond with him and strive to be in the same team when you graduate. Orochimaru's parents are not as talented as him, and they are only chunin in Konoha. Every time they go to the battlefield, they put their necks under the sickle of the god of death, risking their lives, so in order for their children not to be like themselves, they repeatedly told Orochimaru to have a better way out, so this scene happened. Orochimaru walked to Uchiha Xingliu and started an awkward chat. Xingliu-kun was distracted just now and should not recognize me. My name is Orochimaru. Please give me more advice in the future. Did Orochimaru come to the door too? Uchiha Xingliu didn't know the inside story of Orochimaru's parents' instructions. Seeing Orochimaru coming to his door, he was more determined to test him. In fact, Uchiha Xingliu thought too much. There is an old saying that when luck comes, heaven and earth will work together. Uchiha Xingliu himself did not realize that his appearance had already set off a storm in Konoha. He still underestimated his influence. At the age of 6, he repelled the spies. And there were rumors that he had opened the 3 Magatama Sharingan. This talent is not the first in history, but it is also one of the best. At least there has been no second one in the decades before and after the establishment of Konoha. In order not to repeat the same mistakes, let Uchiha Xingliu become Hashirama Senju instead of Uchiha Madara. The people of Konoha even changed their minds and began to accept Uchiha. This also made Uchiha live a particularly easy life during this period. The whispers on the streets before were gone, and even buying things could be discounted. Such a good change also made Uchiha Xingliu accumulate reputation in the Uchiha clan without knowing it. Uzumaki Mido adopted Uchiha Xingliu, and many people completely let down their guard, hoping that he would become the second Senju Hashirama. In this way, Konoha can be peaceful for decades again. Before Sarutobi Hiruzen began to change his political intentions, Konoha no longer operated according to his ideas. The desire for peace is deeply imprinted on everyone in Konoha who was hurt by the war. This trend cannot be changed by Sarutobi Hiruzen. When a person sees a real hope, he will grab it at all costs. Uchiha Xingliu is that hope now. That is, now Uchiha Xingliu is still young, and according to rumors, he hasn't opened his Mangekyo. Otherwise, It's hard to say whether Sarutobi Hiruzen can keep his position, just like now. Orochimaru also wants to meet Uchiha Xingliu because of this trend, although Uchiha Xingliu, who doesn't know the truth, is a little uneasy. Orochimaru has come to him, so how can he refuse? Scientific research geniuses are popular everywhere. Orochimaru's words gave Uchiha Xingliu a ladder to ease the embarrassment, and he will naturally slide down. My name is Uchiha Xingliu, and it's my honor to be friends with you too. Please give me more advice in the future. Uchiha Gigi also reacted. It's really hard to respond to what he said just now. Who would say such a thing when they first met? If you don't know, you might think it's a provocation, so she blushed even more and stammered. Yes, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing just now. Uchiha Xingliu smiled knowingly at Uchiha Xili, who showed his true character. Uchiha Xili looked so cute when he was shy, and he would cry for a long time if he was bullied. Tsunade watched the interaction between the few people from the side, and she couldn't help shuddering when she saw Uchiha Xingliu smile, start praying for Uchiha Xili. After spending the past few days together, Tsunade almost understood. Uchiha Xingliu was a guy with a bad temper and liked to bully her, and every time he tricked her, he would show that smile just now. Uchiha Xili saw Tsunade's sympathetic eyes and was a little puzzled. Uchiha Xingliu naturally saw this look, and he glanced at Tsunade, which scared her to pretend to be an ostrich and stop hinting. Tsunade didn't want to extend the bet to infinity. She still understood that it was better to let her friend die than to let me die. Seeing that Tsunade was sensible, Uchiha Xingliu didn't want to trick her anymore. There was a target to bully right in front of her, so why bother to go far away? It doesn't matter, but Uchiha Xingliu just said that he wanted to surpass me, right? Uchiha Xingliu nodded in confusion. After getting her confirmation, Uchiha Xingliu smiled and continued. If you go up to the podium and sing a song for me now, I will tell you the secret of my strength. Chapter 32. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Jiro was stunned when he heard it, and then his face turned red. This condition was still very tempting to her. Uchiha Xingliu and she were from the same clan, maybe this secret of becoming stronger would be very suitable for her. So although he was shy, after thinking for a while, Uchiha Jiro nodded, then he moved his feet and slowly walked towards the podium. Tsunade watched from the side. Although she knew that he was bullying Uchiha Jiro, she was also very interested in the secret of becoming stronger in his mouth. If she does it, will you really tell her the secret? Uchiha Xingliu nodded and said affirmatively. Of course, my main point is honesty. What secrets can Uchiha Xingliu have to become stronger? It's nothing more than the system's automatic hang-up. The rest is no different from others. He bullied Uchiha Jiro this time. In fact, he was verifying an experiment. Uchiha Jiro was so shy to talk to people. Asking her to sing in public now is undoubtedly embarrassing her. After she finished the task with shyness, she was given an answer that could not satisfy her, even a somewhat teasing answer. The emotional changes between them were huge. At that time, it depends on whether Uchiha Xili can open the Sharingan. If it can, it proves that the Sharingan does not have to lose love to open. Strong mental fluctuations can also open the Sharingan. Of course, Uchiha Xingliu will apologize to Uchiha Xingliu after this. After all, joking is a joke only if both parties find it funny. As for why Uchiha Xingliu did not treat Tsunade like this, that's because what Tsunade needs is to change bad habits and hobbies, not just jokes. At this moment, Uchiha Xingliu overcame the shyness and fear in his heart and walked to the podium. Looking at the people below who were curious about her, she simply closed her eyes and began to sing. You said that if you flap your wings, you will never come back. You are looking at the blue sky. Unlike Uchiha Gigi's shy appearance, her singing voice is beautiful. The noisy classroom gradually quieted down and began to listen to her singing. When Uchiha Gigi finished singing and opened her eyes again, everyone in the class was looking at her. This scene made her brain freeze directly because she was already socially anxious. But then, thunderous applause woke her up. Uchiha Gigi opened her eyes, and the scene in front of her made her laugh unconsciously. In front of her, everyone was applauding her singing just now. This gave her courage in her heart, and she regained her confidence after being a little at a loss. Uchiha Gigi bowed and walked back to Uchiha Xingliu. I've done it, now it's your turn to fulfill your promise. Uchiha Xingliu was a little emotional. He didn't expect Uchiha Xingliu to sing so well. This made his plan go bankrupt, because now she is not only not shy, but full of confidence, but he still has to give it a try. My secret to becoming stronger is very simple. He paused for a moment, and the people around him who wanted to listen pricked up their ears. That is not to smoke or drink, go to bed at 11 o'clock in the evening, and sleep for 8 hours a day. Before going to bed, I must drink a glass of warm milk, then do 20 minutes of stretching exercises, go to bed, and fall asleep immediately. Sleep until dawn, never leave fatigue and stress until the next day. This is the secret of my becoming stronger. Uchiha Xingliu's so-called secret to becoming stronger made the eavesdroppers fall to their knees. Uchiha Xingliu felt that he was playing a trick on him, and his eyes were wide open with anger. When she thought about how she had just admired Uchiha Tsuryu, Jili felt very uncomfortable. How could such a person who bullies classmates and has a bad personality be worthy of my admiration? This was the only thought left in Uchiha Jili's mind for a while. There is a saying, the more you endure, the angrier you get, the more you take a step back, the more you lose. Uchiha Xingliu was so excited that her chakra began to flow unconsciously in her body. Just when she was about to give Uchiha Tsuryu a big blow, she saw the people around her looking at her in surprise, and Uchiha Tsuryu, who made her so angry, looked at her with admiration, and then said to her, "Congratulations, Jili, your Sharingan is open." Uchiha Xingliu touched his eyes in surprise, and then took the small mirror handed by Tsunade and looked at it. After seeing a Magatama spinning around in his eyes, he smiled happily. Uchiha Tsuryu felt very, as expected of Uchiha Ji. She opened the Sharingan even without a huge emotional contrast. With this talent, it's no wonder that she can open the Mangekyo, and this also verifies Uchiha Seiyu's idea. Uchiha does not have to lose love to open his eyes, but enough emotional fluctuations are enough. It is even further speculated that if the spiritual power is strong enough, the Sharingan may awaken naturally. Of course, the possibility of this speculation is not high. Indra, the ancestor of Uchiha, also opened the Mangekyo under strong stimulation, so spiritual energy is more likely to be the premise of opening the eyes, rather than the condition of opening the eyes. As for why Uchiha Seiyu's Mangekyo awaken naturally, the idol system will not tell you the basic law of the ninja world. The verification of this speculation also gives Uchiha Seiyu a better bargaining chip to control the Uchiha clan in the future. Of course, now is not the time to say. Uchiha Seiyu also said sorry to Uchiha Ji, looking at Uchiha Xingliu who was grinning with the mirror in his hand. Uchiha Xingliu smiled, walked to her and took away the mirror. "Xingliu, I'm sorry for what happened just now. Actually, my method of becoming stronger is the same as yours, there is no difference. The only difference is that I may work harder." Uchiha Xingliu was actually a little bothered by what happened just now, but seeing that Uchiha Xingliu apologized so sincerely, and that she had opened the Sharingan because of a blessing in disguise, she was no longer prepared to blame him. And although Uchiha Xingliu was still young, he was not young at all. She felt that what Uchiha Xingliu did was not just a joke, but she was shallow and couldn't figure out why. So she decided to tell her grandfather after school. "It's okay, but next time Xingliu, don't joke like this." Uchiha Xingliu, who looked down on Uchiha Xingliu, naturally didn't know that she had a trick to call for external help. At this time, he was quite happy that all his goals had been achieved. Then Orochimaru and Tsunade also joined the conversation. The emotions between children come and go quickly. Under the mature thinking of Uchiha Tsuryu, even Orochimaru forgot his parents' instructions and began to take Uchiha Tsuryu seriously. He had few friends since he was a child, but in his heart he had already regarded Uchiha Tsuryu as a friend. Chapter 33. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Jiraiya looked at them with some envy. Jiraiya, who has a personality similar to Uzumaki Naruto, has a limit to how much he doesn't know how to joke, not to mention that he has been very lustful since he was a child. This also makes him more annoying than Naruto, and naturally he has no friends. Uchiha Seiyu has actually been observing Jiraiya with his peripheral vision, not only him, but also a girl with brown hair wearing glasses. Uchiha Seiyu remembers that during the physical test, this girl was also the last person to stand up. Seeing Jiraiya's somewhat envious expression at this time, I knew that Jiraiya was stable, so Uchiha Seiyu proposed to Tsunade and the other two. During the physical test just now, in addition to the four of us, there were two people who also persisted to the end. I will invite them as well. Tsunade and the others had no objection to this proposal. The strong live with the strong, and their performance in the physical test just now is the ticket to enter this small group now. Seeing that they all agreed, Uchiha Xingliu walked towards Jiraiya and the girl with glasses and made an invitation. Sorry, I was distracted when I was introducing myself just now. Can the girl with white hair and brown hair and glasses come over? I want to meet you. Jiraiya pointed at himself with an unbelievable look on his face, and ran over happily after seeing Uchiha Xingliu nod. His happy and proud expression was beyond words. The girl was much quieter. After getting Uchiha Xingliu's confirmation, she just walked over quietly. It seemed that she had no other emotions at all. In fact, Uchiha Xingliu was still a little curious. He was familiar with this girl, but he just couldn't remember her. According to her current performance, she will be an elite jonin at least, not to mention the level of Kaguya in the future. What's more, she is still a girl. Did she die in the future war? As for the other people in the class, although they envied this group a little, they had nothing to say, because these few people now are composed of the best performers just now. If you want to join them, you must be stronger than them. Jiraiya ran to Uchiha Tsuryu at this time and pretended to be calm and began to introduce himself. My name is Jiraiya. I don't like to eat anything. I like beautiful big sisters and stealing, cough cough. My future dream is to become a Hokage. Tsunade and Uchiha Jiji immediately showed unhappy expressions after listening to his self-introduction, although Jiraiya later realized that he couldn't say that he had a hobby of peeping in public, but in connection with what you said before, everyone can guess this hobby. Uchiha Tsuryu gave Jiraiya a thumbs up in his heart. When it comes to shamelessness, it has to be Jiraiya. Peeping is extremely disreputable everywhere. But Jiraiya has persisted for decades, which shows that his shamelessness is invincible in the world. Uchiha Tsuryu also hates his hobby. Men can be lustful, but they must have a bottom line. You can go to places of entertainment, but you can't do things like peeping. But Jiraiya's hobby is really hard to change. He is completely different from Tsunade's love of gambling. Tsunade later became addicted to gambling, probably because it could numb the pain in her heart, but when Jiraiya was peeping, Tsunade almost beat him to death. Even so, he still did this as usual, which shows how much he likes peeping. Combined with his shamelessness, it is extremely difficult to get Jiraiya to quit this thing. All Uchiha Tsuryu had no good way to save him for a while. Seeing that Tsunade and Jiji looked at Jiraiya with more and more unfriendly eyes, Uchiha Tsuryu quickly interrupted. Forget it, there is still one person who hasn't been introduced. Hearing this, Tsunade and the others temporarily let Jiraiya go, and Jiraiya didn't feel like he had returned from the gate of hell at all, and he tried to talk to Orochimaru next to him with a happy face. Hello everyone, my name is Yakushi Nono. I like to eat cakes, and my future dream is to become a Hokage. Yakushi Nono's self-introduction made Uchiha Xingliu suddenly realize. No wonder it looks familiar, it turns out to be her. Yakushi Nono is also a ninja with a title, and the Walking Shrine Maiden is talking about her, the ace spy of the root. She made great contributions to Konoha in the Second and Third World Wars. Her excellent spy ability has earned her a title that many powerful ninjas do not have. This represents the fear of other ninja villages for her, and is also a symbol of merit. Although the strength of this ace is not mentioned in the anime, she is active in other ninja villages to obtain intelligence and retreat unscathed. Her lowest strength is also a jonin, and this is because she was trained by a garbage organization like the Root. Otherwise, Yakushi Nono may not be able to step into the level of Kaguya. What's more, compared with her spy ability, her strength is irrelevant. This kind of natural public security talent, let her be responsible for the security of Konoha, which spy can escape safely. Unfortunately, such an excellent Konoha ninja still died in the hands of Danzo, the other. For Kageyas probably wake up with a smile every day. With such high-level people, Konoha will not be destroyed, and unlike civilian ninjas like Jiraiya and Orochimaru, Yakushi Nono has a surname. This means that there is a small ninja clan behind her. Whether there are talents like her in it, there is no way to know. It doesn't need to be too many, as long as there are a few, and cooperate with the Nara clan to support Konoha's internal affairs. This made Uchiha Xingliu look at Yakushi Nono with a little heat. Being looked at with such eyes, Nono felt a little uncomfortable for a while. Now she is not the Walking Shrine Maiden that makes people shudder, but just a kid who has just entered school." Seeing the embarrassment flashing across Nono's face, Uchiha Tsurаю knew that he was a little rude, but they didn't know each other before, so it was hard to explain. Fortunately, no one else noticed the embarrassment between them, which also made them feel relieved. Just then, Dokichi walked in from outside the door, looking at the noisy classroom. He said with a dark face, "Little devils. Do you still want to run around? Hurry up and sit down and be quiet." All of a sudden, the lively classroom just now became quiet as if it was stuck. Then the students quickly sat back in their seats. This relieved Dokichi's dark face, and he took out the textbook and said, "Let's start the class. Today I will explain to you the establishment of Konoha." But before he finished speaking, Jiraiya raised his hand and said, "But we don't have textbooks." Dokichi froze, slowly turned his head and asked, "Didn't I ask you to get it?" Seeing this scene, the students below couldn't help but burst into laughter. Chapter 34. You are listening at novelfull.audio. While Uchiha Tsurаю was laughing and talking, Sarutobi Hiruzen, who had just returned to the Hokage building, had a headache. In the ninja school, the sudden idea of the will of fire gave him a lot of inspiration. He was about to come back to sort it out and use it as a lesson plan for the ninja school in the future. Unexpectedly, he saw Danzo waiting for him there as soon as he walked into the office. Sarutobi Hiruzen was very worried about this close friend. Danzo's political level cannot be said to be zero, but it can only be said that he has no talent. Konoha's big and small families don't like him, and even hate him. Danzo's strength is not very strong. At his peak, he was just a weak Kage level, but he also likes to provoke others everywhere. The Pot King of the ninja world is not a false name. If it weren't for Sarutobi Hiruzen's protection and connivance, Danzo would have committed suicide by kunai. At this time, the dark ninja had been waiting for Sarutobi Hiruzen for a long time, and his eyes lit up when he saw him walk in. "Hiruzen, the wind in the village has changed now. We can't just wait like this." Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes condensed, and he picked up his pipe skillfully and began to puff. Of course he knew what Danzo was talking about. Sarutobi Hiruzen still remembered the reminder from Uzumaki Mido that day. He was still hesitating whether to change his mind and reconcile the relationship between Uchiha and the village, but he didn't expect that it would take just 3 days. After Uzumaki Mido announced that he would adopt Uchiha Tsurаю and told people about Tsurayu's achievements. Konoha has undergone tremendous changes. People don't believe in Uchiha, but they believe in Uzumaki Mido's ability. They believe that Uzumaki Mido can lead Uchiha Tsurаю on the right path. Since they chose to believe, many people in Konoha have made changes. The most intuitive is the village's attitude towards the Uchiha clan. The Uchiha used to be hated by everyone, but now they have become popular. This also led to a surge in the dovish forces within the Uchiha clan, and their voice became even greater. Harmonious coexistence became the theme of Konoha and Uchiha for a while, but Sarutobi Hiruzen's previous policies were still going on normally, which created a conflict. Facts have proved that Sarutobi Hiruzen does not have such great prestige. His policies were ignored. It just so happened that Sarutobi Hiruzen did not dare to say that he would deal with Uchiha, so the people below just treated this policy as non-existent. He could become Hokage only because of the support of the Senju headed by Uzumaki Mido, but now Uzumaki Mido has shown signs of supporting others, which has caused Sarutobi Hiruzen's reputation to decline a lot. He has not been Hokage for long, and his control over the village is far less than that of Uzumaki. Naruto, so what happened in these 3 days has had a huge impact on his position as Hokage. So after hearing what Danzo said, Sarutobi Hiruzen also fell into hesitation. Danzo is not good at anything else, but he knows Sarutobi Hiruzen very well. As soon as he saw Sarutobi Hiruzen hesitate, he knew that his goal today was half accomplished. "Hiruzen, I know that the Uchiha star flow cannot flow now. But just because he cannot move, it does not mean that others cannot move. The ninjas in the village are all fence-sitters. When you are strong, they will listen to you and do what you say. When you are weak, they will take advantage of you. It just so happens that my route is short of manpower. You give me the warrant, and I will ask for people from the small and medium-sized ninjas to teach them a lesson. This matter can let others know that you are the Hokage, and it can also increase your own strength. How about it?" Sarutobi Hiruzen originally thought that Danzo would say something high-sounding, but he didn't expect it to be the same old thing again. Danzo even wanted to reach out to the ninjas this time, but Danzo's last words touched him. Yes, I am the Hokage. Thinking in this way, Sarutobi Hiruzen made a decision. He took out the transfer order of the Hokage and signed his name, then he threw it to the eagerly waiting Danzo. This is the only time, there won't be a next time. Danzo had achieved his goal at this time, but when he heard Sarutobi Hiruzen say this, he unconsciously refuted Sarutobi Hiruzen. Hiruzen, you are too weak, only a proper beating can maintain the dignity of the Hokage. As soon as he said this, he knew that he was too arrogant. Sure enough, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was dark, and he was obviously angry with Danzo. Danzo knew that he was in the wrong. How could he be justified in asking others to do things? Minglu, kneel down, big sister asks you to do something. Fearing that Sarutobi Hiruzen would regret it, he pretended that nothing had happened and turned away. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face returned to normal after Danzo left. After a long time of getting along, just like Danzo knew him, he also knew Danzo's character. He was not angry at all for what Danzo said just now, but as Danzo said, some people do need a proper beating, such as himself who said this. So Sarutobi Hiruzen in dark face, do the angry look let Danzo know that there are things that cannot be said carelessly. In fact, Sarutobi Hiruzen knew that Danzo's doing this would damage his reputation, but he really had no choice. In the final analysis, the only people that Sarutobi Hiruzen could be sure of standing on his side were his Sarutobi clan and Danzo's Shimura clan. Even Inoshikacho might not stand in the same camp with him. Now that Uzumaki Mido is still there and the Senju clan and the Uzumaki clan have not disappeared, Sarutobi Hiruzen is restricted everywhere in the village, so now he wants to show the prestige of the Hokage and improve his own voice. Since he wants to show prestige, it is a good way to kill the chicken to scare the monkeys with the ninja clan of the same camp. Sarutobi Hiruzen's operation is actually a bit of a replica of the White Fang incident, the same killing of the chicken to scare the monkeys. Let the village know that he is the Hokage, but in the future, the chicken is White Fang, and now it is the ninja clan. But just like White Fang rebelled against him by committing suicide, if you want to kill a chicken, don't be afraid of splashing blood. Moreover, it is uncertain whether Sarutobi Hiruzen can withstand the backlash now. Sometimes, the more you do, the more mistakes you make. If you don't do anything, you won't make any mistakes. A day passed in the blink of an eye, and it was time for the ninja school to finish school. After Uchiha Xingliu said goodbye to Tsunade and the others, he returned home leisurely. What happened on this day was too dreamy, making him feel like he was dreaming. Forget about Jiraiya, who is so carefree, but people with Orochimaru's personality would actually take the initiative to make friends with him. What surprised him even more was the unexpected gains. The walking priestess, the pharmacist Nono and the Uchiha Gigi of the Mangekyo. If these people are trained well, they can compete with them, not to mention sweeping across the 4 countries. It can be said that 90% of the goal of the ninja school has been achieved at once, and the only thing left is Might Guy. Thinking of Might Guy, Uchiha Xingliu shook his head and decided not to disturb this person. Might Guy's talent is extremely poor, and his 8 gates are far inferior to Might Guy. His success is the result of decades of persistence. If you disturb him rashly, you may not see the red beast of Konoha. At this moment, Uchiha Xingliu felt that someone was following him. He checked calmly and found that it was Orochimaru. Chapter 35. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Xingliu stopped, while Tsunade was a little confused, not understanding what he was doing. The next moment, Orochimaru came out from behind them. He hesitated for a while, but still spoke. Xingliu-kun, I hope you can give me some advice on my training. Please agree to my unreasonable request. As he said that, Orochimaru closed his eyes and bowed to Uchiha Xingliu fiercely. It is a very immoral thing to follow others privately. What's more, asking the person being followed to give you advice is even more unreasonable. But Orochimaru had no choice. He had just entered the ninja school to study, and he was not yet a student of Sarutobi Hiruzen in the future. His parents were just ordinary chunin or civilian ninjas. The poor resources could not make him grow up at all. Originally, he had hoped for the guidance of the teachers in the ninja school, but Dokichi's guidance was obviously more basic. For Orochimaru, this was a waste of time. On the other hand, Uchiha Xingliu, except for being a member of the Uchiha clan, has basically the same conditions as him, but unlike him, Uchiha Tsuryu already had strong strength before being adopted, therefore, Orochimaru hoped that Uchiha Tsuryu could guide him in the future. Just as he was waiting for the verdict, Uchiha Tsuryu walked to his side and helped him up. "We are friends, and we can make progress together, so there is no need for guidance. Is it convenient today? Why don't you stay at my house overnight, and we will go to school together tomorrow?" Orochimaru was still a little dazed when he was helped up, and then Uchiha Tsuryu's words made him stunned. It took him a while to react. The next moment, he was only 6 years old and was moved to tears. Uchiha Tsuryu's words not only moved Orochimaru to tears, it also made him change Uchiha Tsuryu from a friend to a close friend in his heart. Sometimes, children's friendship is so simple and direct. As for why he is so good to Orochimaru, need I say more? Others may not know his talent, but Uchiha Tsuryu can know it. It is because the ninja school has just started, otherwise Orochimaru's talent would have attracted attention long ago, let alone Orochimaru's talent in learning ninjutsu. His scientific research ability alone is worthy of Uchiha Tsuryu's investment in him. In the world of Naruto where blood is respected, only Orochimaru believes in science. If he did not know the truth of this world, he might have been able to research the Samsara Eye, and before Orochimaru turned evil, he was still quite kind. It can only be said that Sarutobi Hiruzen and Danzo did nothing to guide the good seedling of Hokage to turn evil. Uchiha Tsuryu was stunned when he saw Orochimaru's tearful look. After all, in his impression, Orochimaru is perverted and ruthless, but looking at the little Orochimaru in front of him, he knew that this was his own stereotype. In fact, Ling Jun is still very immature now. Uchiha Xingliu patted Orochimaru on the shoulder. A man can only cry twice in his life, once when he is born, and once when his parents die. So, dry your tears and let's go. Orochimaru wiped his eyes quickly after hearing this, then looked at Uchiha Xingliu and said seriously. I understand, Xingliu-kun. I won't cry anymore in the future. Tsunade watched their interaction from the side, and her head was full of question marks for a while. She didn't understand how the topic got to men. Didn't Orochimaru ask Xingliu to guide his training? Besides, it was getting late now. Uchiha Xingliu was not afraid of Uzumaki Mido, but Tsunade couldn't bear it, so she interrupted the two people who still wanted to interact. Xingliu, it's getting late, we should go back. Uchiha Xingliu looked at Tsunade who was a little anxious when he heard this, and he also understood her thoughts. Uzumaki Mido has been correcting Tsunade's character these days and has been very strict with her. He was scolded for coming home late, but Tsunade might have to work late into the night. Orochimaru is also a good judge of vision. Seeing Tsunade's anxious look, he knew that she was anxious to go home, so they looked at each other. Although they had known each other for a short time, they said together in tacit understanding. Then let's go. ×2. Then they smiled at each other again. Tsunade walked quickly in front as if relieved. Uchiha Tsuryu wanted to laugh at her hurried look, but then he remembered the reason why Tsunade suffered and held back. After all, Tsunade was treated like this, and he had to interfere. If he laughed now, it would be a bit too much. After a while, I will compensate Tsunade. Thinking like this, Uchiha Tsuryu followed Tsunade with Orochimaru. Tsunade walked quickly, without any hesitation. Soon they arrived at the Senju old house. Uzumaki Mido stood at the door, and Chinatsu was beside her. Tsunade saw her and ran over. Grandma, I'm back on time. That when Tsunade said this, she also emphasized the word on time. Uzumaki Mido smiled when she heard this. Tsunade's performance in the past few days really made her very satisfied. Little Tsunade is very good. I'll let Xingliu take you out to play in a few days and give you a day off. Uzumaki Mido still understands the principle of overcorrection, so she gave Tsunade a day off so that she could release some pressure and liberate her child's nature. Tsunade almost jumped up with joy after hearing this. She came to Uchiha Xingliu with a bright smile, pulled his arm and said excitedly. Did you hear it all? Grandma asked you to take me out to play. Uchiha Xingliu looked at the cute girl in front of him, touched her head and said. I heard it. After a few days of school holidays, I will take you out to play and give you a surprise. Hearing the surprise, Tsunade opened her eyes wide and said expectantly. What is it, what is it, tell me. Uchiha Xingliu crossed his hands and said pretentiously. That won't work. Surprises can't be told to you in advance, otherwise what kind of surprise is it? Just keep this expectation in your heart, you will know in a few days. Then he pointed to Orochimaru and continued. Besides, there are guests now. Tsunade was a little embarrassed after hearing it. It was indeed a bit bad to let the guests wait, so she made way for Uchiha Xingliu to bring Orochimaru to Uzumaki Mido. Grandma Mido, this is Orochimaru, a friend I met at the ninja school. Orochimaru looked at Uzumaki Mido, although he didn't know why Tsunade and Uchiha Tsuryu called this young woman grandma, but his sixth sense told Orochimaru that they could call her grandma, but you couldn't, so he spoke from the heart. Hello, sister, my name is Orochimaru, and I'm a classmate of Tsuryu and Tsunade. Chapter 36. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Orochimaru's call of sister made Uzumaki Mido smile, then she glanced at Tsunade and Uchiha Tsuryu, and her meaning was obvious, she wanted them to change their words, but she could only see them pretending that the scenery was beautiful and looking around. In fact, Uchiha Tsuryu had already praised Orochimaru in his heart. As expected of Orochimaru, you have the sense of danger of snakes at such a young age? Uzumaki Mido didn't bother too much about the name. Uchiha Tsuryu made friends on the first day of school, now that she was brought back, she must treat him well. She squatted down to the same level as Orochimaru, looked at the somewhat nervous Orochimaru and said. Hello, I am Tsunade and Tsuryu's grandmother, welcome to visit. Uzumaki Mido is a very gentle person as long as she doesn't lose her temper, now this attitude of respecting others makes her seem more approachable. This effectively relieved Orochimaru's nervous mood. He looked at Mido Uzumaki who was smiling kindly in front of him, and whispered. Then can I also call you grandma? Orochimaru had never seen any relatives other than his parents since he was a child, although Mido Uzumaki did not look like an old man, her kind expression and demeanor were very similar to that of a grandma, so Orochimaru showed his childish side in front of her, but Mido Uzumaki froze for a moment after hearing this, but looking at the cautious child in front of her, she could not say no. You are already an old woman, so don't do anything that embarrasses children in the future. Thinking of this, Mido Uzumaki suddenly felt relieved. No problem, you can call me grandma in the future. Orochimaru's eyes lit up and he replied happily. Grandma, this time Mido Uzumaki did not hesitate to address her, and smiled kindly. Uchiha Tsuryu and Tsunade looked at their interaction in surprise, and did not expect Mido Uzumaki to give in on this point. Especially Tsunade, because she was taught a lot by Uzumaki Mido about this. Now seeing Uzumaki Mido's transformation, she was confused for a while, but then Tsunade gave up thinking, this kind of thing is not bad, and it is meaningless to entangle this little thing. After communicating with each other, they walked into the Senju mansion, although Senju Yosuke and his wife avoided going to the battlefield again. They were also very busy. The cause was that a certain Uzumaki clan member who was slacking off had been taking his own vacation, causing the affairs of the Senju clan to pile up, so the two of them had no choice but to deal with it outside. When he first knew about this, Uchiha Xingliu called out in his heart, what a guy. It turns out that Tsunade will leave things to Shizune to deal with in the future, and slack off to drink. All learn from you. Orochimaru followed them through the Senju mansion, and his eyes lit up when he saw the place for training. His purpose was to get Uchiha Tsuryu to teach him how to practice, but after seeing this place, he was a little unable to walk. Uchiha Tsuryu saw him like this and knew what he was thinking. So he stopped and said to Uzumaki Mido and Tsunade. Grandma, you and Tsunade go back first, I will take Orochimaru to practice here for a while. Practicing is definitely a good thing, and Uzumaki Mido is also very confident in Uchiha Tsuryu, knowing that he will not mess around, so she just nodded and left with Tsunade. After they left, Uchiha Tsuryu looked at Orochimaru. He had no idea what this young version of Orochimaru was capable of now, so Uchiha Xingliu asked. Orochimaru, what do you know now? Orochimaru thought for a while before saying. I have learned the chakra guiding technique and the three-body technique, and I also have a D-level great fireball technique. And I have mastered climbing trees and treading water. Uchiha Xingliu looked at Orochimaru with admiration. At the age of 6, he had already mastered everything that a genin had to learn, and this was only because of the resources that limited Orochimaru, not because he could not learn anything else. As a rare genius in Naruto who has all the attributes, even the yin and yang attributes, his end point was just limited by the times. After Orochimaru reached the limit of his talent, he began to try to break through this limit. Whether it was Hashirama's cells or the Sharingan, they were all his goals. Unfortunately, although the direction was right, the method was wrong. If he had known the truth of the world earlier, Orochimaru would have achieved something beyond imagination, but he is still young now, and with Uchiha Xingliu as an outsider, who can tell what will happen in the future? Retracting his scattered thoughts, Uchiha Xingliu asked. So what do you want to learn now? Orochimaru said without hesitation this time. Tsuryu-kun, my dream is to learn all ninjutsu. So no matter what Tsuryu-kun teaches, I can do it. As he said this, he exuded strong confidence, as if to say, no matter what ninjutsu, I can learn it. Looking at Orochimaru like this, Uchiha Tsuryu was a little embarrassed for a while. Although teaching ordinary ninjutsu to Orochimaru can directly improve his strength, but he always felt that doing so was a bit of a waste of Orochimaru's talent in scientific research. Then Uchiha Tsuryu began to recall Orochimaru's performance in the anime, a series of snake ninjutsu, and even developed the eight-headed technique to fight against the tailed beasts. He also improved the second generation's impure world reincarnation and broke the Shikigami seal. Thinking of this, Uchiha Tsuryu suddenly understood, a tall building starts from the ground, and the foundation is very important. Ordinary attribute ninjutsu must be learned, but you can't know the reason without knowing the reason. After teaching Orochimaru ninjutsu, he can study the structure of ninjutsu. Why can this seal release ninjutsu? Can the seal step be omitted? Or can the A-level learning difficulty be improved to B or even C-level learning difficulty? If successful, more people can learn advanced ninjutsu and improve the strength of the village. These can be explored by Orochimaru, and it is just right to guide him in the direction of scientific research, killing two birds with one stone. As for whether the workload is heavy, this is not within the scope of Uchiha Xingliu's thinking. After all, he paid for knowledge, so he must gain something. It is not advisable to pay blindly. Brothers should settle accounts clearly, after figuring out how to instruct Orochimaru. Uchiha Tsuryu looked at him expectantly and slowly said. Orochimaru-kun, I just thought about it carefully for a while. I recognize your talent and want to formally train you. This is different from instructing you. Instructing you is a matter between you and me. But if I train you, I need to give you the collection of Senju's ninjutsu. So, you have to pay something. It's okay if you don't agree, but I can only instruct you on some ordinary knowledge. Chapter 37. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hearing Uchiha Xingliu's serious words, Orochimaru began to think, there is no free lunch in the world, so he can understand what Uchiha Xingliu said, but this also involves Orochimaru's future, and he has to weigh the pros and cons. Uchiha Xingliu gave him two choices. If you want something better, you have to pay something, but what this pay is, Uchiha Xingliu did not say. Thinking of this, Orochimaru asked a question. Xingliu-kun, I wonder what the price you are talking about is. Uchiha Xingliu looked at Orochimaru, who became a little nervous and chuckled. Don't be so nervous, I won't do this to you. As for the pay I mentioned, it's also very simple. I paid knowledge, and I hope to gain knowledge. So, if you choose this path, what you have to pay is your experience in studying ninjutsu in the future. Hearing this, Orochimaru breathed a sigh of relief. He thought Uchiha Xingliu wanted him to obey orders in the future, just like the samurai in the story. I choose Senju's collection, and I will give you a backup of the ninjutsu I researched in the future. How about that? Knowledge for knowledge, very fair. So Orochimaru agreed to this condition. Uchiha Xingliu was also very satisfied, although Orochimaru's ninjutsu experience was not very useful to him, but in the future, if he wants to improve Konoha's military strength, these things are undoubtedly very valuable. As for the results obtained by hanging up, of course, the high-level goods are only taught to his relatives. Uchiha Xingliu is not a saint. Although he wants Konoha to be stronger, he will not harm his own interests. In this case, I still need to talk to Grandma about this matter. Let's go back too. There is no rush. Orochimaru nodded and agreed with him, so they returned to the house and found Uzumaki Mido, who was explaining the sealing technique to Tsunade. After Uchiha Xingliu told her his thoughts, she shook her hand and said indifferently. Since this scroll is given to you, it's up to you to decide how to deal with it. Uzumaki Mido still trusted Uchiha Xingliu unconditionally in this matter. Sometimes he even doubted himself. Could it be that he was really possessed by a succubus when he traveled through time? In fact, he even forgot that Uzumaki Mido had an ability that only the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki had, evil thought perception. This ability can distinguish people's malice. No matter how well you hide it, as long as you have hostility in your heart, you will be detected. Although the people in the village didn't say it, everyone would have unintentional evil thoughts when facing her. Otherwise, she wouldn't have said to Uzumaki Kusuna, let the container be filled with love first. But Uchiha Xingliu didn't feel that way at all. Uchiha Xingliu, who had no guard or fear at all, stood in front of her like this. People with abnormal bodies care most about other people's eyes. Uzumaki Mido could not avoid this. Combined with his eyes from the peaceful era, Uzumaki Mido actually believed in him more than he thought. As long as Uchiha Tsuryu did not betray the village, Uzumaki Mido would always support him unconditionally. At this moment, Tsunade made a face at them mischievously. Uzumaki Mido not only did not stop them after seeing this, but thought for a while. Tsuryu, take Tsunade and Orochimaru out to play together. Child, don't ask for too much. Upon hearing this good news suddenly, Tsunade first looked at Uzumaki Mido in disbelief. After getting her affirmation, Tsunade shouted happily. Long live, Grandma is the best. Then she jumped down from her seat impatiently, ran to Uchiha Tsuryu and looked at him expectantly with her bright eyes. Tsunade is already very cute, and now she is maliciously cute. Uchiha Tsuryu can't stand it at all. It just so happened that he also felt that he had been too strict with Tsunade these days, so it would be nice to take her out for some fun. So he said, what do you want to play? That when Tsunade heard this, she blurted out without thinking. Gambling, I want to gamble twice. This made him and Uzumaki Mido speechless. They both disliked Tsunade's love of gambling. Fortunately, Uchiha Tsuryu had already made long-term preparations. Even if he couldn't change it, he had to change Tsunade from a bad gambler to playing in moderation. Tsunade actually knew that they didn't like her gambling, so she regretted it as soon as she said it. Just when she was about to change her mind and play another game, Uchiha Tsuryu actually agreed. Okay, Orochimaru is here today. I'll take you to play a new type of gambling for 3 people. Hearing this, Tsunade was overjoyed. She really didn't expect Uchiha Xingliu to agree. As for Uzumaki Mido, she had seen all kinds of scenes. With a glance, she knew that Uchiha Xingliu was preparing to pit Tsunade again. Okay, it's settled, let's go. After that, Tsunade took the lead, while Uchiha Xingliu and Orochimaru fell behind. Uchiha Xingliu quietly approached Orochimaru and said, don't ask first, wait a while and you will grab the landlord first, and then don't grab it when there is a bet. Although Orochimaru didn't understand it, he still agreed to this request. At this time, Tsunade stopped and looked at them in confusion. Are you discussing something? Uchiha Xingliu laughed and said. What a joke, what do you need to discuss about your luck? I just think it's better not to bet on anything this time, otherwise it's too much of a bully for you. Tsunade couldn't stand this kind of provocation, and was about to refute, but then she thought of the scene of losing to Uchiha Xingliu. For a moment, she fell into hesitation. Uchiha Xingliu knew that the last experience would definitely make Tsunade hesitate, so this time he was going to change his routine. For things like landlord, even if Tsunade's luck was extremely bad, he could still help her win. Seeing the hope of winning, she would start to propose landlord with bets. At that time, it would be time to harvest Tsunade's leaks, so Uchiha Xingliu said. We are playing a new type of game, why not bet on nothing at the beginning? Wait until you are familiar with it, and then you decide whether to bet or not. How about it? At this time, Tsunade no longer hesitated and agreed. They came to Uchiha Xingliu's room, and he took out the poker cards that he had prepared long ago. After introducing the gameplay and rules, they started playing. Things were just as Uchiha Xingliu thought, and Orochimaru began to grab the landlord as he said. Although he was affected by Tsunade's extremely bad luck, which led to him losing more than winning, He won a few times. This made Tsunade, who rarely won in gambling, very excited. Now she was like a lamb walking into a spider web, unaware of the approaching danger, but she didn't know that she had come to the edge of the cliff, and one wrong step would be a trap. She started to raise bets without any B number, and made a bold statement to win back all the losses. Then, as planned, Orochimaru stopped grabbing the landlord. Tsunade became the landlord with a swell, and then became more silent with each move. Just like that, half an hour later, the burned Tsunade fell to the ground. Chapter 38. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tsunade, who remained silent, pushed the cards in her hand away. She had been cheated for 300 days again. If she hadn't reacted yet, she would be a bit too stupid. She wasn't poisoned deeply now, or she hadn't experienced so much pain. So once the excitement was over, she knew she had been fooled, and based on the last situation, she couldn't deny it this time. For a moment, the mask of pain was on Tsunade's face. The smile will not disappear, it will only shift. Tsunade's excited smile half an hour ago had now shifted to Uchiha Tsurayu's face. Her eyes were a bit creepy, but Uchiha Tsuraju couldn't help it. Tsunade's expressionless face still put some pressure on him, so Uchiha Tsuraju argued. You know, as ninjas, we are strictly trained and we won't laugh no matter how funny it is. Unless we can't help it. Ha 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 ha. After that, he couldn't help laughing out loud anymore. Tsunade saw him laughing so happily, and her face became more and more distorted. Orochimaru on the side didn't know the cause and effect of the matter, but the snake's intuition told him that it would be better not to wade into this muddy water at this time. Tsunade looked at the smile on Uchiha Xingliu's face, listened to the laughter getting louder and louder, and became more and more angry. The strange power of the ninjutsu that she learned some time ago was used by some unknown reason. Crack! With a crisp sound, the bed they sat on for playing cards collapsed. Now it was Uchiha Xingliu's turn to be dumbfounded. This was his bed. Uchiha Xingliu was a little bit familiar with the bed when he slept, and he finally got familiar with the new bed here in the past few days. Unexpectedly, the bed he just got familiar with was gone. This made the smile on Uchiha Xingliu's face slowly disappear. Tsunade didn't mean it, but her emotions fluctuated too much, so she unconsciously used the unfamiliar ninjutsu. When she used it just now, she was shocked herself. Although he tried his best to control it at the first time, he still failed to save Uchiha Xingliu's bed. Originally, Tsunade was a little embarrassed, but now seeing Uchiha Xingliu's frustrated look, the smile shifted to her face again. Tsunade opened her eyes wide and said innocently, You know, I've been practicing super strength recently, and I haven't mastered this ninjutsu very well. Uchiha Xingliu had no choice. It was even he who suggested that Tsunade practice super strength, and now he shot himself in the foot. It's just a bed, it's not a big deal. Bed, no one speaks for me. Thinking of this, Uchiha Xingliu sighed and stopped. Entangled in this issue, he looked at Tsunade, who was smiling and squinting, and said, Since you are not good at using this ninjutsu, then use it a few times for this bet, and it will be considered as extra training for you. How about it? I'm good to you. Tsunade, who was originally happy, froze when she heard this. She didn't expect Uchiha Xingliu to use her words to stop herself. This blocked her way out, leaving her with no way to quibble. The practice of super strength requires not only the control of chakra, but also physical exercise, so practicing super strength is much more tiring than simply learning sealing techniques. After spending a few days together, Tsunade knew that Uchiha Xingliu's heart was harder than iron and he would not easily change his decision. Especially when he was trying to trick her, Uchiha Xingliu would create opportunities even if there were no opportunities. So Tsunade didn't say anything to beg for mercy, but just kicked Uchiha Xingliu indignantly and said, No more playing, I'm going to practice super strength. Otherwise, someone will use this as an excuse to trick me again. After saying that, Tsunade jumped off the collapsed bed, put on her shoes and ran away. Uchiha Xingliu and Orochimaru looked at each other, and saw speechless expressions in each other's eyes. Tsunade had suggested playing the game, but now she had left first. The two of them were left alone, and neither was interested in gambling. Uchiha Tsuraju put away the cards, took out the ninjutsu scroll and handed it to Orochimaru, saying, Since you choose to exchange knowledge for knowledge, why not start now? This is a scroll of sea level and below ninjutsu. I'll give it to you now, and you can learn it yourself. After you finish learning, write down your own research results, and then come to me to exchange for new ninjutsu. How about it? Orochimaru was a little excited. Although Uchiha Xingliu said he wanted to train him, he didn't expect him to be so generous. In this era, or even the era when the protagonist was born in the future, the biggest restriction on civilian ninjas is the lack of ninjutsu resources. Not to mention the secret technique, this kind of ninjutsu that can create a small or medium-sized family, ordinary sea-level ninjutsu, none of them can be easily obtained by ordinary genin. In the ninja school, you are only taught the 3 body techniques. Not everyone can have a jonin as a teacher when they are divided into teams. Being able to release sea-level ninjutsu is already a qualified ordinary chunin, and now, Uchiha Xingliu is sea-level at the first move, and he can exchange for more ninjutsu in the future. This made Orochimaru very excited and grateful to Uchiha Xingliu. He took the scroll and said, "Thank you very much, Xingliu-kun, I will not let you down." Uchiha Xingliu smiled indifferently and said, "Then when I become Hokage, you come to help me." The speaker is unintentional, but the listener is attentive. Orochimaru kept Uchiha Xingliu's words in mind. Uchiha Xingliu didn't know that he had unknowingly recruited Orochimaru. After getting the new ninjutsu that he had been dreaming about, Orochimaru started to learn it after chatting with Uchiha Xingliu for a few words. Uchiha Xingliu also picked up the sealing technique and started to read it. For a while, the only sound in the room was the sound of turning pages. Outside the courtyard, Tsunade was also practicing her super strength. The 3 children were always moving forward for their dreams. When you really devote yourself to learning, you will have a vague feeling about how fast time passes. While they were studying hard, Chinatsu not only prepared Orochimaru's guest room, even the dinner was ready. She looked at Tsunade's hard work and felt a little dazed for a while. It seemed as if she saw Uzumaki Mido, the time when she taught herself ninjutsu. If I become a ninja, will I have a different life? Thinking of this, she quickly shook her head and shook off all these thoughts. Since I have decided to repay Mido-sama, I must keep my word. Thinking like this, Chisha calmed down, walked to Tsunade and said, "Tsunade-sama, dinner is ready." Tsunade stopped practicing, pulled up Chisha's sleeves, and said coquettishly, "Chisha sister, don't call me sir anymore. You watched me grow up, and grandma likes you very much. We all treat you as a family." Chisha did not refute. She had heard this many times. She just wiped the sweat off Tsunade's forehead and tidied up her messy hair due to practice. After tidying up everything and watching Tsunade become bright and beautiful again, Chisha smiled lightly. "Let's go, Tsunade-sama." Chapter 39. You are listening at novelfull.audio. When Chinatsu brought Tsunade to the restaurant, everyone was already there. Uzumaki Mido sat at the main seat, and the couple, Senju Yosuke and his wife, who had been nowhere to be seen, sat beside her and were talking happily. Orochimaru was asking Uchiha Xingliu for advice. Tsunade ran over happily when she saw her parents, showing off the results of her training today. This happy scene made Chinatsu smile beautifully. Uzumaki Mido saw Chinatsu standing there and said with a smile, "Little Chinatsu, you come and sit too." Hearing this, Chinatsu shook her head and bowed and left. Uzumaki Mido saw that she was still like this, so he didn't force her. Over the years, no matter how Uzumaki Mido persuaded her, Chinatsu had always been asking herself, some things still need to be figured out by the person involved. Uzumaki Mido retracted these thoughts and said to Senju Yosuke, "Yosuke, nothing has happened in the clan during this period of time, right?" That when Senju Yosuke heard this, he seemed to have thought of something and his face looked a little bad, but after hesitating for a while, he still said, "Mom, although nothing has happened to the Senju in Konoha during this period of time. But on the battlefield, the Senju sacrificed a lot. They knew that they were defeated this time, so they attacked very frantically." Uzumaki Mido also knew about this, but he was somewhat helpless. The last madness on the battlefield was nothing more than the final revenge of those whose relatives died in the hands of Konoha. The war is about to end. If you don't take revenge now, you don't know when you will have to wait. Uzumaki Mido is extremely powerful and is very good at sealing techniques. It can effectively support the battlefield and relieve the pressure on Senju, but she is the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. If Uzumaki Mido appears on the front battlefield, then this war that is about to end will continue. As for other ninja clans, they will not abandon their own people, but will support others. Everyone has their own difficulties, and Uzumaki Mido will naturally not blame others, so she can only treat the relatives of those who sacrificed their clan members well. In Konoha, Uzumaki Mido looked a little lonely. The Senju clan lost too much in this war. Not only did the clan members suffer heavy losses, but many clan members who lived through the Warring States period also died. Even the second-generation Hokage Senju Tobirama fell before the dawn. Originally, they went to sign a peace treaty, but they didn't expect that the second-generation Raikage and Hokage would die there. If it weren't for the Cloud Ninja fighting faction headed by Kinkaku and Ginkaku, this war might have ended long ago. Uzumaki Mido, who had no good solution, had to discuss with Senju Yosuke to give more compensation to these sacrificed clan members. Uchiha Tsuryu listened to their conversation and fell into deep thought. The conversation between Uzumaki Mido and the other man revealed a message. Although the war has come to an end, the number of Senju sacrificed has increased. This may be related to the quiet disappearance of Senju in the future. Uchiha Xingliu was thinking, does he have any good ideas? These days he has read a lot about sealing techniques and has some understanding of them. There is a way to seal ninjutsu in sealing techniques, and the detonating talisman is related to this. So, is it possible to seal the palm fairy technique and make it into first aid supplies to treat the wounded? Although it sounds simple, it is definitely difficult to do. After all, the age of ninjas has been thousands of years. If it is really that easy, this method would have replaced conventional ninja combat long ago. No need to make a seal, just throw out the sealing technique during the battle, which is much more convenient than ninjutsu. So it is not that it is not used, but that it cannot be done. After thinking for a while, he moved his eyes to the autoplay system. Others can't do it, but it doesn't mean that Uchiha Xingliu can't do it. According to the ability of the system, it is estimated that as long as the sealing technique is idle to blue, it can be done. As for the palm fairy technique, there are still people in Konoha who can perform this ability. There is no need for Uchiha Xingliu to be idle specifically. The Senju clan will be his helper in the future. Now reducing their casualties is considered to preserve the strength of his own people, and Uzumaki Mido is so good to him. Even if he simply helps him, it is nothing. What's more, if the medical talisman is really created, it will also be good for Uchiha Xingliu's reputation. Hatake Kakashi created Raikiri and made him famous. Tsunade improved Konoha's medical system so that she could return to the position of the fifth-generation Hokage after decades. The medical talisman can be seen as a product of the combination of the two. Once this cross-era product is released, the next generation of Hokage will basically be Uchiha Xingliu. Although he will be regarded as a thorn in the eyes of other ninja villages, he is not afraid. Uchiha Xingliu is not going to graduate early. He is still a long way from becoming a ninja. There are still 5 or 6 years left. If he is not a ninja, the Hokage in the village can't let him go on a mission. If he doesn't do a mission, he won't encounter an ambush, and in the village, who can hide from Uzumaki Mido who has evil thoughts? Thinking of this, Uchiha Xingliu took the fire escape from the system's idle column and replaced it with the sealing technique, green. He learned in the past few days, the current idle speed of the system. The ability upgrade speed below blue is very fast, and it will reach blue in about 10 days. Besides, the sealing technique is also very useful, and the ability of idle is not a loss. Although Uchiha Xingliu has made up his mind to help Uzumaki Mido, he hasn't made a decision yet, so he didn't tell them. He plans to wait until he is ready and give them a surprise. Uzumaki Mido has already finished talking about work with Senju Yosuke. Although these things give her a headache, it's time to eat now. She suppressed her thoughts, then knocked on the table and said, "Xiao Xingliu brought a classmate back today, let's welcome him." Hearing this, everyone present raised their drinks and welcomed Orochimaru. Orochimaru blushed a little at this scene, and after calming down for a while, he said, "Thank you, Grandma Mido, I'll have a drink first." He took the drink and drank it all. He looked like a little adult, and everyone couldn't help laughing. For a while, the room was filled with joy. At the same time, at the home of Uchiha's second elder, Uchiha Ang. The Uchiha elders and clan leaders who had just gathered not long ago gathered together again. Unlike the last time Uchiha Setsuna convened, this time it was a gathering convened by the dovish Uchiha Ang. "Have we been getting together too often these days? I was having dinner with my grandson and he called me over again. What's the matter this time?" I was also having dinner with my good granddaughter. If the matter is not important, I will beat Aang's shit and let him know that I am not a yes man who will come whenever he is called. Chapter 40. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Uchiha Aang's face was dark when he heard this, although it was a bit unkind to call people at dinner time. It was indeed a major event concerning Uchiha, otherwise, he would not be in such a hurry. Seeing that they were getting more and more excited, they were almost going to beat him to death. Uchiha Aang coughed and said, I have a reason for calling this meeting this time. Everyone knows that although our Uchiha bloodline is famous in the ninja world, the difficulty of opening the eyes is obvious to all. The clan members who have not opened the Sharingan are just at the level of ordinary people. At this time, Uchiha Setsuna interrupted him impatiently. Okay, what is the matter that makes you so anxious to call us together? Don't keep us in suspense. Just get to the point. Uchiha Aang, who was interrupted, didn't care, or, compared with what he said next, being interrupted was nothing. Since Elder Setsuna is so impatient, I'll just say it straight. The method to open the Sharingan may have been confirmed. After saying this, the Uchiha present were a little confused. In fact, they all knew how to open the Sharingan. As long as their relatives and friends die, they can open the Sharingan. Even those with sufficient qualifications can open the Mangekyo in this way, but illusions cannot be used to achieve this goal, and the reason is unknown, but it must be a real death to open the Uchiha Sharingan. It is also for this reason that the second generation Hokage said that the Uchiha is a clan of love and a clan of curse. This is not a secret, although ordinary clan members don't know it. As high-level Uchiha, they can access this information. Uchiha is just arrogant, but not stupid. Thousands of years are enough for them to draw this conclusion, so now Uchiha suddenly said something that everyone knows, which made them a little stunned. Okay, you really want me to beat you to death? The next moment, a sturdy old man was seen moving his wrist and looking at Uchiha with a sneer on his face. Just when he was about to start, the clan leader beside him stopped him. The clan leader was excited and asked in disbelief. The method you said is not the one we thought of. Although Uchiha was a little panicked when he was about to be beaten, he still tried to stay calm in order to maintain his image. The clan leader's question made him secretly relieved, and then nodded with a smile on his face. Uchiha nodded to admit the clan leader's question, which also set off the conference room. Everyone looked at him in disbelief. After a while, they all looked at Uchiha in silence, hoping that he could give a specific explanation. This time, no one interrupted me, right? Seeing this scene, Uchiha first retorted to Uchiha Setsuna. Uchiha Setsuna's face turned pale when he heard this, but he didn't say anything else. Compared with the Sharingan, he was insignificant, not to mention choking him. If what Uchiha said was true, he could even remove him. Seeing that Uchiha Setsuna was so tactful, Uchiha curled his lips, tooted, and began to explain. Today, my granddaughter Uchiha Yuri opened the Sharingan. And it's different from the traditional way of opening the eyes. She was just stimulated by Uchiha Tsuryu and opened the Sharingan. According to Yuri, Uchiha Tsuryu deliberately stimulated her at the time. She felt something was wrong, so she came back and told me. Yuri doesn't understand. Can I not understand? Maybe the previous guess was wrong. The opening of the Sharingan does not require the death of relatives and friends, but the violent fluctuation of mood when hearing the news. As he said, Uchiha Pun calmed down and continued. With this guess, I must confirm whether it is correct or not, otherwise it will be a false alarm. I selected several talented Uchiha and asked the clan's special mourners to inform them of the death of their relatives. When the news was notified, 3 of these people awakened the Sharingan on the spot. Everyone, this is a great discovery. Oh. After Uchiha Pun finished speaking, the crowd, who had been unable to hold back, cheered. For a while, the conference room became a sea of joy. The huge celebration sound exploded the well-insulated room, so that some sounds could be heard outside. After a while, they calmed down their excitement. Uchiha Pun's face was ruddy and he was in high spirits. The second possibility of the opening of the Sharingan made his prestige in the clan. Time is in the spotlight. Strictly speaking, this discovery should be made by Uchiha Xingliu. After all, Uchiha Xingliu can feel that he did it on purpose. Uchiha can also see it, but who made him the first to bring it up? However, he, Uchiha, will not be ungrateful, so after the meeting room calmed down, Uchiha said. I am just the one who summarized this answer. Uchiha Xingliu has made great contributions. The clan should also reward him, otherwise it will chill the hearts of others. Hearing this, the Uchiha nodded in agreement. The clan leader frowned, and for a moment he didn't know what to give. At this moment, the man who had just boasted that he would beat Uchiha to death said. Why not give him the secret book of the Sharingan? Since this kid can guess the secret of opening the Sharingan, maybe he can understand more things after seeing this secret book. That this proposal was agreed by most people, except Uchiha Setsuna. He was still fantasizing about using this thing to attract Uchiha Xingliu for his own use, unfortunately, although he was the elder and the leader of the Hawk faction. But he couldn't get the support of the Hawk faction on this matter. After all, giving the secret book to Uchiha Xingliu can not only show their sincerity, but also allow him to continue research, even if there is a 1 in 10,000 chance that Uchiha Xingliu has studied the secret of opening the Mangekyo. Then these Uchiha with 3 Magatama will have a way forward. So under this trend, the voices of opposition disappeared like drops of water in the sea. After discussing how to reward Uchiha Xingliu, they continued to discuss how to open the eyes of more people in the clan. Now that the secret of opening the eyes is in hand, wouldn't it be a pity not to use it? Uchiha said with a smirk. Why not use the method I used in my experiment? I think it can be improved. For example, let one of his parents set up the morning hall, and when the person comes back, tell him the news of his father's death. This will have a strong sense of reality, and maybe it will increase the number of people who open their eyes a little bit.